Hey guys! So today I want to tell you all about my adventure from Orlando, Florida to Houston, Texas. I've never gone on a solo trip by myself before. I've honestly never even stayed like in a campground by myself. I've never been in these areas that I was in, so a lot of this was new and it's pretty big for me because I actually in the past have suffered with a lot of anxiety, generalized anxiety. When I was like in my early 20s, I didn't even want to drive across town by myself. I had so much anxiety that I would have panic attacks and I would be afraid of that I would be driving my son or something and have a panic attack. And obviously after spending years in therapy and working on myself, and to be able to go from that, being afraid to drive across town, to driving across a few states by myself was a really big feat. I'm very proud of myself for it, and I can't wait to share with you the journey. So I was just thinking that if I want to travel and see different parts of the country, I have to get used to traveling by myself. And I am nervous. I'm noticing that I'm especially nervous now that I'm on this like 2-lane highway. It's not like a freeway, so it's more obviously not off the beaten path, but it's certainly more remote than, you know, Orlando, which I got used to for a little while there. Being by myself, it does make me nervous. Also, another thing that was going on in my head, I had passed a couple animals that were on the side of the road. Obviously, they had been hit. And I think, honestly, I think they were pigs, like boars. I don't know anything about wild boars. Like, I don't know how to handle if you come across a boar, what do you do? Because I haven't researched that. Because I've never lived around wild boars. So in my head, I'm driving and I'm like, if I break down, I'm going to be on the side of the road. What if I've walked somewhere? And if I walk somewhere, am I going to get attacked by a wild boar? I can't expect someone else to always want to go where I want to go or see the things that I want to see. And I don't want to have to rely on anyone else like that. I want to be able to rely on myself to take me where I want to go and see the things that I want to see. I did talk to Craig a lot on the way down here, and that always makes me feel better.
Only time you need to stand up is to get dressed.
I like knowing that the technology we have these days, like my family can see where I'm at.
You're going to be riding right along the coast all the way down.
I'll tell myself, you are fine. You are safe. You're in your car. Your car is fine. But I am grateful that I'm not driving the van on this road, like checking the meter to see if if it's too warm, or dealing with the steering and no cruise and really no air conditioning. So I'm super grateful that I'm in the vehicle I'm in. Just need to keep pushing forward and pushing myself to do things I'm afraid of. And that's what I want everyone else to do as well. That's what I want to encourage people to do. It's like, get out there and make your dreams come true, even if it scares you. You have to do it through the fear. So it's not always fun, but I know that I'll feel so much better after I've done it, and I'll be so proud of myself. So the first part of the trip, I was headed up to a campground called St. Joseph Peninsula State Park. Toward the end of the road trip, as far as getting to the campground, there was a large bridge that I was going to have to go over. And actually, Craig had told me about it. So he was on the iPad looking at where I was, because he can see my location. He can see, like, he was looking at the map, you know, wider than what I'm seeing on my navigation. And he's like, yeah, there's a pretty big bridge coming up. I, in the past, have been nervous driving over bridges. Not like small, normal bridges, but like long, big bridges, especially bridges that go really high, because I have a fear of heights. And so it just makes me nervous. I don't love it. I actually was in Outer Banks with my daughter a few years ago, and it made me so nervous to like drive over this one bridge. I told her like on the way back, I'm like, you're driving on the way back. Like, I'm not doing that again. And so this was one of the things that was always in the back of my mind, was when I travel by myself, there are bridges I'm going to come across and I'm going to have to drive on them, or like roads that have like cliffs that are drop offs, and I'm going to have to drive through these situations, right? So there's this bridge coming up, and it's a 4-mile bridge, which is kind of long in your head when you're nervous about bridges and you're like, a 4-mile bridge. From where I was driving, I could see it going across the water, and I was like, that was a really big bridge. So I just pulled over, and I was like talking to Craig on the phone, and I'm like, okay, hold on. I just need to like kind of gather myself. And so pulled over, kind of gathered myself, and like took some deep breaths. And then I was like, okay, we're going to do this. So get back on the road, and it was probably like a mile before I got to the actual bridge. And once, you start going up over it, I said, talk to me about like, I don't know, puppies. Talk to me about, I don't know why puppies came to mind.
So what made you think that you should get a puppy?
I was so surprised at how I was able to like I love water. So I was able to actually look over and across the water, and I felt fine. I actually thought it was really beautiful, and I wasn't as nervous as I thought I was going to be. So I was really happy about that. All right, I just made it. So I drove over a 4-mile bridge, which was scary for me that I was going to have to do that, but it ended up being fine. It was actually really cool. I am at the St. Joseph Peninsula State Park Campground, which is located right at the end of a peninsula. It's super cool, and I can't wait to explore. Time lapse with this camera. Pretty excited. So now I'm just feeling really grateful this moment, and the fact that God led me to this like amazing place. This freedom that comes with the calm helps us belong. 3,000 miles left behind, still we run. So that night was the first night that I was sleeping in the car by myself. Pretty much when I got back from recording the sunset, I had already actually put all the covers on my windows and my bed was already made. So I just kind of made sure all of that was done. So I was actually in bed, I think by like 8 o'clock. There was a point where I thought I heard something outside of my car. So I was at a spot that had electric. And so I had my power bank plugged in and it was, you know, kind of like maybe 10 feet from the car. And I knew I was gonna have to bring that in. I wasn't gonna leave it out all night. But I had heard this noise and I was just, all I could think of was those wild boars. And I'm like, what if it's a boar? It's like running around my car. This is my brain. It was like running around the car. So I like opened up the door. I remember I was sitting here and I opened up the door and I heard something rustling and I hurried up and shut the door. I'm honestly almost certain that it was a palm tree. There were palm trees above me and they make weird noises if you're not used to it. They like, the palms are big and they rub against each other. And so I'm pretty sure it was palm trees I was hearing. But anyway, I worked up the nerve to run over there, grab my power bank, throw it in the car, and then hop back in. I locked all the doors and I was like, you know what? I had not gotten I have like a urinal for women, female urinal, and to pee in the middle of the night. And I did not get it out of, I had it like stowed away in the back and it was like under the bed, underneath the car, like in this little storage area. And I hadn't gotten it out because I forgot. And I was like, you know what? Oh, well, like I'm not going pee then in the middle of the night because I'm not getting out of here. It's so funny when you're in a location that you're not familiar with and you don't know what like animals to expect. Like I know in Pennsylvania, I could expect a bear, I could expect a raccoon. Obviously, I've never seen a bear in a campground, but I've seen pictures of bears in campgrounds. I have seen raccoons. We've had them take off with our chips and all kinds of things like that, but that doesn't really scare me. I will get out and go to the bathroom. But being in a place where I wasn't familiar with, I was like, I ain't getting run down by a wild boar. I will just hold it. So it ended up working out just fine. It was very windy that night, like a cold front came through. It was probably 72 when I went to bed, and I don't know what happened, but when I woke up, it was 42. Just woke up and I don't know how cold it is out, but it is chilly. The sunrise is stunning. So that morning I actually made oatmeal. I did not have coffee, which I was okay with. I knew I had more driving to do that day and I had to drive through states I've literally never been in. So I didn't want to make myself more anxious than I would potentially already be. Freezing. I'm done with breakfast. I will go brush my teeth and pretty much get on the road. So I'm headed towards Houston today. I don't know where I'm going exactly. I don't have a campground reserved yet. If I even will get one. I didn't sleep very well, which isn't surprising. The temperature dropped like in the middle of the night. Had to be like 30 degrees. It's crazy. Got really cold. I have enough blankets and stuff to stay warm, so it wasn't like a serious issue. I also have a heated blanket if I need it. I might get it out tonight, just so I have it for tonight. Yeah. I woke up quite a few times. There's like rustling palm trees, which I'm not used to listening to. Yeah. Ooh, the water's done. Man, to live in a car or even like stay in a car like for a long trip, you really gotta have a system. I can tell you right now, I don't have a good one. It's not bad. It's a little runnier and I like it, but it will do. And it's warm, which is nice on this chilly morning. This is a beautiful campsite. I'm off to Louisiana today. Wish me luck. All right, heading out. We're off to Louisiana.
Something that makes us complete when we finally see. Here with the sun on our backs, and it's all we need. Together
30s overnight. All night.
So I drove from the campground in Florida over to a campground called Sam Houston Jones State Park. I didn't know what campground I was going to stay in. I called them that day to see if they had any spots. I wanted to stay in a state park campgrounds. I've always felt very safe in them, pretty clean. There's typically people there kind of like driving around and checking out, making sure everyone's following the rules. And so as a solo woman traveling, I felt more safe staying at a state campground. Okay. All right. I can do this. Craig said such good words to me yesterday. He said, "You can do it because you are doing it." It's like, those are like the most simple words, but like so powerful. You can do it because you are doing it. It's like, yeah, you can think about that in every step of like a career or your business that you're building or whatever. Like, as long as you're taking steps toward it and you're doing it, you can do it. So I just booked the campground that I'll be staying at next. For some reason, I was thinking it was going to take me a lot longer to get there, but now it's telling me like 6:05 is my arrival time if I continuously keep driving. I'm excited about that because I kind of thought I was going to end up having to drive in the dark, and I was not thrilled about that. So I will be driving all day, and that's okay because I'll be so much closer to the Houston airport for tomorrow. So that's good. I'll have time to actually maybe go hiking tomorrow at this state park and actually maybe enjoy it some. So I'm excited about that. So I stopped at a McDonald's and went to the bathroom, and then now I'm making another peanut butter and jelly. Why didn't I just get McDonald's? Well, I'd like to start eating healthier, but also I think I'm gonna buy dinner tonight. So figured if I eat a peanut butter and jelly for lunch, then that leaves a little bit more room financially to spend for dinner. So every time we travel, we try to do things cheaply, which means bring food with you. So I have a refrigerator back there, and then I just have right now easy things like peanut butter and jelly, and like you saw earlier, oatmeal. I have fishy crackers, and I always have Twizzlers because that is my road candy. However, when I'm at home, I eat healthier, and so I need to figure out, like, well, when I do road trips, or if I'm gone for a month at a time or something, like, how do you eat healthy on the road? So I do have carrots in the fridge, and I bought a bunch of fruit actually, so I'll have an apple today. I'm not big on vegetables. honestly. I like cooked, sauteed vegetables. I'm not big on raw vegetables. So that's going to be more difficult because I would have to cook the meal if I'm going to get enough vegetables in. So, trip is going well so far. Yeah, I'm just going to keep driving today, really. I want to kind of get as close to Houston as possible, so tomorrow is not a huge drive to get my sister from the airport. Oh, good. So I stayed at Campground last night in Louisiana. It was pretty comfy, honestly. It's pretty chilly this morning, but I slept pretty good, so I'm gonna go explore something today. There's some trails around here I looked at on All Trails app, and then I'm gonna go check that out. I'm just gonna get up, get ready, make breakfast, and then I'll decide what I'm gonna do.
With you I see the morning always comes. With you I hear the story told by love. You never leave a diamond in the rough. There's better seasons rising like the sun, 'cause morning always comes. Sometimes I'm fine in the backseat. Feels like my life's moving past me, and I get so caught up in things I'll forget 10 days from last week. There's too much blessing every day for me to leave on the shelf. Just lift your head, 'cause there's no reason you should be by yourself. 'Cause life is a gift worth more than trying to survive. The sun still rises tomorrow, if it's 9 or it's 5. If you're looking for goodness, then that's what you'll find. With you I see that morning always comes. With you I hear the story told by love.
So something funny about exploring, well, for someone that has anxiety, I think, especially when you're like exploring in areas that you're not familiar with, you're like, well, I don't know if what I'm doing is smart. Like, how would I know? Like, I'm walking along a river right now and I'm taking pictures. What if that's like not smart? Because what if there's like alligators hanging out on the edges? How am I supposed to know? Obviously, Google research would probably be nice. But on this trip, I really didn't know exactly where I was going to land. So I also don't want to scare the crap out of myself. So kind of like how I said, I looked up the whether like Baton Rouge is safe or New Orleans is safe, and then it was like they're the most dangerous cities in Louisiana. I'm like, I need to get through those, and I need to get through them before dark. Like, I don't know what to expect. So yeah, that's what it's like as a person that has anxiety but wants to go out and adventure and like see the world and see things. There's like a balance between having to push myself to do things that scare me, and then but also being smart at the same time. So a lot of van lifers and like women that travel solo talk about, you know, using your intuition and your gut feelings, and that's really challenging for a person that has anxiety, because you don't always know like what in your brain is real, or, you know, is it a real gut feeling that you have, or like are you just having anxiety and need to chill out. Oh, look at this sign. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Using common sense. There's probably alligators down here. But also, I see those signs all over Florida, and I have yet to see an alligator in the wild, so I'm sure they're there, but I do hope to see one. I just hope that They're not hungry when they see me.
With you I see the morning always comes. With you I hear the story told by love. You never leave a diamond in the rough. There's better seasons rising like the sun, 'cause morning always comes. Sometimes I'm fine in the backseat. Feels like my life's moving past me, and I get so caught up in things I'll forget 10 days from last week. There's too much blessing every day for me to leave on the shelf. Just lift your head, 'cause there's no reason you should be by yourself. 'Cause life is a gift worth more than trying to survive. The sun still rises.
Part of this trip is so that I can help combat the anxiety and like kind of exposure therapy, I guess, in a sense, because I've been wanting to travel and see things. But I always thought that I'd have to have Craig with me in order to do it, or Riley. And that's what I've done in the past. So the couple days that I'm traveling alone was because I wanted to try it. I've been watching like van lifers and women solo travelers, and I want to be as strong like that, you know? Like I want to have that kind of strength and courage. And so to do that, I have to do it, right? I really hope to encourage people to make their dreams come true and make their life what they want it to be. Because as far as we know, we only live once. So get out there and live it to the fullest. So I'm using the All Trails app. If you have not ever used it, I highly recommend it, especially when you're going to visit new areas if you don't know the trails, but even honestly for your own backyard. It'll show you all the trails in the area that you're in. You can search specific areas, and then people leave reviews on what they think about that trail. And it's really great for getting information as far as it tells you how long the trail is, how hard it is, and then people will leave reviews, like I said, as to whether you can just read through them, and sometimes they'll be like it was muddy or whatever, you know, the same kind of information you get in from any review, just learning what the people actually thought about it. So it's really great. I couldn't believe when Riley and I went to Arizona how many people were out on these trails and had no idea where they were. And they were like, do you know, they would stop us and be like, do you know if we're like, you know, halfway through or like where we're at? You know, we would obviously like show them the app and then be like, so yeah, you got this much further to go, or it's good information to have before you head out into the woods. So I did not continue the walk down the entire trail. It does make me nervous to go hiking by myself. Don't really feel like I'm quite prepared for that. I have Mace with me. Obviously my phone. You know, you can only push yourself so far. So the fact that I'm driving this distance by myself, and then staying in my car by myself for a couple nights, you know, I guess that's the other part, is like, take it in steps. Don't expect to reach your goals overnight. Give yourself grace and just be okay with what you do accomplish and be proud of yourself. So I'm really proud of myself for the things I've done in the last few days and what I've accomplished. I know how much more confident I'm going to be after this trip for traveling and camping, and so I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now. So that's something that I want to work on moving forward, is being able to be in the woods and being comfortable with, you know, by myself. So anyway, the parts that I did explore were really pretty. I wanted coffee, so I headed over to a cafe that I had found in the little town that was outside of this campground. So I went and got coffee, and then I headed towards Houston. So I got to the airport pretty easily. Driving through Houston wasn't terrible. I picked up my sister and we take off for Harlingen, Texas, which is about 5.5 hour drive from Houston. We knew we would get there pretty late. I was so happy to have her with me. I was very excited for our trip, which I'm going to tell you guys all about in the next video. It'll be our little adventure, visiting our parents in Texas, and we went to an island called South Padre Island. Gorgeous place. So I can't wait to share all those details with you and show you the footage. And yeah, it was a really great time. So until next time, if you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe and like this video if you found it entertaining or helpful. And I can't wait to see you guys next time.
There's a place just for us here in the gold dust.